Hello, everybody. Good morning. Tuesday morning it is in this part of the world, Vanuatu, 7 a.m. right now, where Judy is just formed. So, what we have here is a tropical cyclone that is going to be causing a lot of flooding rain. Now, I'll get into that, and I just wanted to mention Freddie is still ongoing, is now passing through Mozambique all the way. Really deteriorated. But can you believe this thing really traveled that far, 9,000 kilometers? So at the peak, that was 270 kilometer hour per hour winds. Now what we're tracking is Judy. So this is the only other storm right now that's going to be affecting people on land significantly. These other two, this one will probably kind of join into some of the moisture with Judy. So I'll get into that. I can go ahead and show you also where you can find forecast information. This is facebook.com/the world of weather for my Weather Woman page, where I put up a lot of forecast information. So go ahead and you can also reach me there. What I tell people is go into the comments sections and then put your questions here, and I'll go ahead and answer them in the live stream. So I didn't log in on this computer. That one wasn't showing up. But if we have any questions here, this is what I'm always returning back to answer questions. So Lori Ellison asking, Port Vila, Vanuatu, what is going to be happening there? So I will go ahead and answer that question. With windy.com, I do like this one for the reason I can come up here to put specific areas in there. I believe that was VILA. Yeah, in Vanuatu. There we go. So with this, it's great. You can also get the live camera feeds. Of course, it's nighttime there at the moment, and it's going to be messy. So, like I was saying in my last live stream, this is going to be kind of like how Tropical Cyclone Irene came through this direction and ended up affecting these islands with a lot of that messy rain here. So we are going to have some strong winds in that area. So she's looking specifically for here. This storm is going to be moving southward. So I will get into the details of how exactly they move. Right now I'm going to close that so I can play this model forward. Now, these stronger winds, what I'll do too real quick is in the right side here, you can touch wind gusts. I've noticed that for this ECMWF, that's the European model, versus the GFS or the others, this is my favorite. So just to explain to everybody what I'm using here and how you can do it yourself too. Then when I hit wind gusts, I end up getting more accurate representations of the real wind speed. So keep that in mind too. You wouldn't think that, normally that this would be giving me a better representation of the actual wind when it's on gusts, but it does. So with Port Vila concerned there, and then starting to see some of those blues, you can imagine that there's like what would feel like a strong tropical storm here, able to kind of break tree branches onto houses, onto cars. So try to park somewhere. If you have a vehicle or a boat, be a little cautious of where those are going, because at the same time, we're going to have very strong seas. So I'll even zoom in here a little bit, and then we'll do a backup version of what the storm is going to do large scale. So here right away in this next day, we're going to see those very strong winds passing by for an entire day, really. So probably all of Tuesday, all of Wednesday, it's going to be extremely windy in all of these islands south of Vanuatu, or the southern islands of Vanuatu. So as this continues to progress, we're going to see it continue to cause flooding rain. And then here is that other invest that I was saying. I think they're going to maybe end up joining together. So yeah, they're so close to each other, these two storms, that it's going to end up being windy another day, very windy in Vanuatu probably. So flooding rains with these storms are going to be lasting about 3 days. And we're lucky though that these winds, they're going to be about 60-75 kilometers, I would imagine, but they could be a lot worse. They will get a lot worse as the storm gets to travel over the open sea. So that's the good news here, that It's not going to be the worst wall of water, but it's going to be very messy and hard to drive, dangerous for driving. And then by this time, around the weekend, Fiji and Tonga will also start to see those flooding rains. But the strongest of the wind is going to stay in Vanuatu. And with a whole nother storm system for the weekend there. So it does, I would agree that this is going to be an extremely windy and floody week in Vanuatu. But look at this next storm system. So the next storm that I was talking about affecting Vanuatu. So the first one had been near Samoa for a while last week. That's this storm here. I went back to right now. And then as we go through day by day, you can see that to the left there's another storm. So these will start to follow the same path because of upper level forcing, but for the entire week, very rainy and very windy in Vanuatu. Then the worst of the weather for Fiji and Tonga will be this weekend. That's going to be flooding rains, and the wind, however, is going to stay pretty far south. So these wind speeds, it will be gusty. Anything around thunderstorms will be very gusty, but not anything dangerous or lagging on and on and on. So in Vanuatu, I would expect about 75, 80 kilometer per hour winds, around there, are going to be pretty consistent for the gusts. It's going to be a sloppy week there where, you have a lot of branches everywhere, a lot of leaves, a lot of debris, and then a lot of mud from so much heavy rain. So just do be expecting that for the entire week ahead. Now, this is the satellite infrared. And so we're seeing these really dark reds. It is thunderstorm activity in those areas. So I'll back up quite a bit here. And I'm going to show you some of the upper level winds so that we can kind of look at the track. I posted up a model track that it's on the thumbnail for this video, but that's just one computer model. So now we can look at what's going on here. Once I play it out, we can get an idea of kind of the general direction of things, and then look at the upper level winds on windy. So right here, we see the plume growing and growing. There's been some space weather lately that will allow for more storms on Earth. We've had what's called coronal mass ejections, and so that's magnetic plasma that leaves the sun and comes toward us. And so when it does enter our atmosphere, it can increase cloud cover and also increase the intensity of storms, I've noticed. So this is information I use, something I actually went to college for with space weather, but it's brand new, hard to find information on it, but I do have a group called Space and Earth Weather. So this is now for the weekend again. But what I want to do is go back to right now. We're going to look at now data, and we're going to go up in the atmosphere so that we can get an idea of like where things are moving, basically. Now, what these storms want to do is follow the path of least resistance. Anything very strong, a really strong pressure system. Right here, we have a strong low pressure spinning clockwise because this is the southern hemisphere. We have another very strong low pressure here, and this is the one that is the cyclone, Cyclone JUDY. So the higher that we go up in the atmosphere, right around the middle is where most of the cloud cover is for these. Most of the rain is right around 500, 600 millibars, just about halfway through the sky. If you were looking up at the top of a strong thunderstorm, then right around the middle is where you would find this layer of the atmosphere. So what's happening here, JUDY is halfway up, still showing that it's strong and rotating this way. However, that low pressure that we saw here, it was a surface low, kind of drifted to this direction. That kind of indicates that it's not as strong of a force, especially not at this level. This is what we call the steering winds, a lot of meteorologists. So this helps kind of guide these big storms. Most of the mass, most of the bulk is right here. So if we're seeing the out ahead of the storm, we're having pushes down toward that other low and what is called a ridge here. So that is definitely going to be following this kind of a general flow. So Judy will want to be moving in the direction that we saw. Now, I had kind of forecast that this storm may want to turn back toward Auckland a bit, and that's not what the models are suggesting yet. But we'll get through this and kind of see. I'll decide what I might agree with better, having taken this time now to look more deep. So as I continue going up higher, there's something called the jet level, and this is what a lot of forecasters use to decide where is the weather going to be, because we know for sure areas like this around what are called jet streaks, this is where we would have a lot of strong weather in the southern hemisphere. It's all opposite for the northern hemisphere. But this kind of zone would have thunderstorms, and we did in fact see that low pressure right around there at the surface. And so back to Judy, it's kind of on its own separate thing, not associated with any kind of a jet streak, or not with the tropical jet or anything. Eventually, as the storm moves south, this part of the upper level pattern is going to kind of grab it and kind of drag it down this way. So it's all 100% about that exact timing, whether or not this storm is going to kind of ricochet back toward New Zealand or not. So here it is in a couple days. This is Wednesday my time, but Thursday morning, Thursday in this part of the world for Vanuatu. So by Thursday, the storm will start to want to drift more eastward, and that does mean Fiji and Tonga will be getting a lot of that rain, while Vanuatu gets the tiniest bit of a break before the next storm. So continuing to progress there, we see that this storm is now kind of embedded into the jet streak here. When we see it going straight across the screen, it's less likely to have a lot of thunderstorms. So that's good news overall. But of course, we do have Judy still here, and all of these wind gust looking areas where there's little pockets of stronger wind. Those are more thunderstorms, and there is a lot of moisture there. And so there will be another storm forming. But at the same time, it's great for New Zealand that this kind of flow is going to impede Cyclone Judy. So now I'm curious. I do kind of think that this storm, Judy, will be ending up a little bit closer to New Zealand than a lot of the forecasts are showing just now. But at the same time, we see a lot of that get swept away. Some of that moisture can come back here, but no, probably not as strong as Gabrielle. And I've been sick, boo, so you can kind of hear it now. But I will look at the comments, see if anybody's left any questions since I started here. I don't see any new ones, so I'll go ahead and check out some of the satellite just real quick here and just see how much rain we can be expecting, because yes, Vanuatu is definitely going to be getting a lot of rain. I mean, this could be feet and feet of rain for Vanuatu and for Fiji. So what I'll do here is there's some more layers tab you can hit, and rain accumulation is one of the options. So for the next 5 days, this is more than 3 feet of rain in those areas that are pink. Now for the next 10 days, like I was saying, would not end up in Tonga and Fiji until this weekend and Monday through Monday. Then we are also showing more than 3 feet of rain. So that would include both of those systems. This is an extreme amount of rain. Need to reiterate that part of this as we go into the week ahead. So best wishes to everybody making it through safely. Just stay off of the road if you need to while this is passing, because some areas, if you're driving through water, it doesn't take much. It can be less than a foot of water. If it's moving, it can pick your car right up. So best wishes to everybody, and just let's look forward to the drying out after that. We should be seeing some of the drier air from there reaching in the next couple weeks at least.